Hey everyone, this is Irene, CBiz Media, Faith, Love, and Trends. We are talking more 90 Day. We're doing 90 Day highlights from the single life. 90 Day Fiancé is a reality show that follows couples. One person's from the U.S., the other's from another country. We see all the craziness that ensues in that combo. All you 90 Day fans know the remnants of those left behind, the relationships that didn't work. We have these people now living that single life, and they're on 90 Day, the single life, trying to find love once again. Now, I decided to do a between the sheets version, using that for my highlights. So we see some of the cast members from the show. They talk back and forth about some of the behind the scenes moments of this particular episode that you may have just seen. So on this episode, mom comes to Florida. That's Debbie, Colt's mom, and she's trying to get Courtney to get back with Colt. I'm like, why, mom? Why would you do that? And even during Between the Sheets, Colt admits that his mom never really reprimanded him. She was more like a friend to him. So she's trying to just make everything right and better for her son. Now, when it comes to Courtney, her parents told her, no, don't even try to get back with this guy, especially if he's going to try to live back in their house. Is he mad or something? We see Debbie, and she's still with her man from Canada. So their relationship is still going. Maybe she knows what she's doing. So mom apologizes, Debbie, and you guys know her from other iterations of 90 Day Fiancé. And she says he's not going to do it again. And Courtney's like, yeah, he's going to keep doing it. She argues for him and says, he's just doing these things because he feels like, I guess, less of a man, like he can't pull his weight. Well, in that case, shouldn't you be on your best behavior? Not the opposite, unless you just want to self-sabotage, which he says that may be an issue for him, that he thinks maybe he's not lovable or he's not enough, so to speak. Well, he needs to work on that. I mean, no one's going to feel sorry for him and bring him in. I know Courtney did for a bit, but it seems like she may have come to her senses. And even having Debbie come talk to her is maybe a little bit too much. Because if you've come to your senses, you're not going to really listen to anyone else's argument. Seeing that he had his mom come argue for him, some of the cast members were like, oh, he's a big mama's boy. He's one of those OG original mama's boys. They don't make him like that anymore. Some say Colt is stupid. Mom says he always wants what he doesn't have, and Courtney says exactly. And once he gets her back, he's just going to want something else. So why go through the circle? She said, I don't know who to be madder at, Colt or Debbie. And Usman is actually watching, and if you guys remember Hunt for Love, it was between Usman and Colt for Courtney. And I think that he said that she called him after this whole situation was going on with Colt and things weren't going well, that she called him, and he said no, he's not going to have it. He does not want to be number two, especially against a guy that appears to be a loser. And he also said that he has more boobs than she does. He says, I'm a big dog, I'm better than that. I'm not going to play second to someone like that. I think it's a little rude for him to put him down, but in a way he has some points because, Colt is not exactly redeeming himself. But is the whole body shaming thing needed, Usman? Crazy thing, Courtney, she actually decides to meet Colt for ice cream. He even threatens, hey, I may be going back to Canada with my mom. And, Courtney's like, maybe that is the best thing for you. But he's like, he wants her. He told Diana, the other girl he was messing with, that he really loves Courtney. And once she's not really up for it, he's on his way to try to get an Uber up out of there. He doesn't seem like he was fighting too hard to keep this thing going. Maybe just another story plot for the show. So they show Sophie leaving Nicole's party let's just skip to them at this point. So just as I thought, well, Jamal's watching. He's like, basically, Pedro's family doesn't like anybody, and he knows Chantel as well. So he's like, it's a lost cause for the family. They're not going to accept anyone Pedro brings around. And they show, just as I suspected, that Sis may have wanted Sophie to leave. I know that it looked like Pedro escorted them out, and maybe it was his decision, but it sounds like it was more his sister's decision. Like, she was like, I don't want you at my party anymore. And yeah, that's basically what I thought. And it shows also that I think Pedro was telling his sister that, she's older than Sophie. She needs to be more of a role model in that situation. And I think they showed the sister and the mom giving their feedback, and they're basically saying, she's like, I can do what I want. I don't have to be a role model for anyone, etc., etc. So he says goodbye, see you tomorrow, whatever. We saw that part. And it sounded like he was not feeling her, the situation, like he was going to throw her under the bus. And she's like, I was having real feelings for him, as, they were watching it back, saying what they thought at the moment in time. And I'm not going to get too graphic, but basically she was saying she may have been up to spend the night with him. And when Pedro sees that part, he's like, oh man, forget my family. I would have went with Sophie if I knew I had a shot to be with her that night. Then we also have her ex Rob watching. Awkward. And he talks about how Sophie was, when they were married, they only were together about 5 times. But after they broke up, they were together like 5 times in one weekend. So I don't know what it is about marriage and commitment or something. Is Sophie scared of that? She doesn't want to be tied down. She sounds like a guy to me. I don't know. Liz is also watching and says Sophie didn't have a chance. And also asking Pedro, should he have stepped in and kind of stepped up for Sophie? And I think he was thinking, maybe I should have. Now let's go to Tony and Vanya. So Vanya takes Tony out of town, I believe, to her cousins. And when Kim is watching, one of the other cast members, and she sees her cousin's husband, she's like, va va voom, like, who's this hot guy? Even though he's married to the cousin. But I see she has a type because he kind of reminds me of Josh. She also likes guys like Usman too. So I think she's kind of has, gets multiple types. So Vanya had an issue that after they met with her cousin, which he felt like he got severely grilled and assaulted by the cousin. Or is this some other date they had? Let me just go back to this part here. So, like I said, the cousin was grilling him really bad, and when they found out, okay, now here's your sleeping arrangements, he didn't try to talk to her, smooth things out, or anything. All he wanted to do was call it a night. She said it was a very awkward situation. You know how they say don't go to bed angry? Well, that's exactly what he did. But Vanya had an issue as to when they went out, and after they went out, she thought he was going home to call it a night, and he went back to another bar to have a drink and sent her a picture of the olives from the bar. So she had an issue with that. And like, I kind of understand where she's coming from, but I'm also like, hey, at least he took a picture and showed you the olives. If he was really doing something behind your back, I think he would have been hiding the fact that he went to the bar. But obviously, he just wanted to go to the bar for, I don't know why he needed extra drinks. That's whatever his issue is. But at least he had the issue and he sent you a picture. It wasn't like, if he was, I don't know, was he trying to make you jealous? Or, maybe you could have stayed out later. She doesn't drink as well. He may have an issue with that as well. So I really don't know all of those details. But would you be upset in that situation? For me, honestly, I wouldn't care. Unless he met up with someone else that was female, I don't really see a reason to be upset about that. But maybe these two just aren't on the same page, aren't on the same trajectory. Honestly, they're into different things. They have different desires. I don't know what it is, but maybe Tony's just not that guy, but we'll find out. We'll keep watching. Kim and Jamal, they go on a hike with their son Larry, and they talk, family talk, and they also talk about finding the missing sister. Even though the adoption papers were closed, she explains that you can send a letter to the agency, and then they'll contact the person for you. And if that person does want to get in touch with you, you'll get that information. So it's not completely a lost cause. It's just they won't give you the direct contact information. They have to see if the person wants to talk to you. Now, that's the part that you don't know. Does the daughter want to still talk to her? She may want to talk to her siblings and not talk to her. We don't really know. But Kim talks about how she thought she saw her daughter. She got emotional. She said she just looked like someone that she thought would be her daughter. The features, the look of her. And Jamal was like, he was like, he had dreams about her and all of that. And he said, it would be cool. What if my sister's like Cardi B or something crazy like that? So I thought that was funny. But yeah, your sister could be anybody when you're in that type of situation. Whatever the case, once they find her, I think they're going to be a complete family. And it looks like Kim is putting her dating situation on hold. Hey, Josh is always on the side if you want. We know that she's into doing friends with benefits type of situation, so I'm not sure if Josh would be up for that. I know Jamal would hate it. So the next day after the party, Sophie comes out in some weird looking hat. I've never seen her look like she's trying to be English or posh for whatever country she comes from. It looks like she was trying to do something that I don't know. It didn't look like her vibe. And Pedro was kind of upset. He's like, all the work he's been putting in to get with her and get close to her, his mom and sister destroyed that all in one night. He explains the situation with his family. He apologizes. And the mom and the mom and sister are actually watching this. And, they're like, why is Pedro so smitten by her? Did she do some type of voodoo, cook her panties and make a juice or something, or some type of love potion? It made me think of Love Potion number 9, guys, when she said that. Why would you cook your panties? It sounds kind of disgusting, but they haven't even slept together, so why would she even go to that length? I don't know. I don't know if it could still work or not, but other people that were watching, the other cast members says basically you should never introduce anyone to your mom or your sister. And I believe Sophie said she needed some time after that situation, which is very understandable. So it looks like the door is still open between these two. And it seems like to me, Pedro was not as big of a jerk as was being led on, especially with the editing. He was trying to make things right. Sometimes I just get tired of these back and forths. It's great for the drama, but if I was in a relationship like this for real with all this back and forth stuff, after about the second back and forth, I'd be done. There'd be no more back and forths. The season would be done, and you would not be watching anything. You would have to go watch something on streaming, go watch Netflix or something, because I would be done with the season after the second go round. I mean, normal people to me are not going to do all those back and forths. All this drama partially is keeping the show going, as well as keeping some pockets aligned. So that's my thoughts on this episode, doing something a little bit different by watching the Between the Sheets version. Did I miss any juicy bits that you guys want to talk about? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'll do my investigation, or just fill me in, and I'll talk a little bit more about those topics or that subject or that thing I missed. Let me know. Check me out on our other platforms by going to cbstvmedia.com Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. And we'll talk again next time, guys. Faith, love, and trends. This is Irene. All the best, and God bless.